perceived aerial phenomenon that cannot be immediately identified or explained. On investigation, most UFOs are identified as known flying objects or atmospheric phenomena, while a small number remain unexplained. While unusual sightings have been reported in the sky throughout history, UFOs did not achieve their current cultural prominence until the period after World War II, escalating during the space age. The 20th century saw studies and investigations into UFO reports conducted by governments as well as organizations and individuals. Hey everybody, a big welcome if this is your very first time here, and today's facts video is all about UFOs. So, get comfortable, lay back, relax, and let yourself drift away as I whisper facts about UFOs. The Roman philosopher and historian Titus Livius, which is spelled Titus Livius, wrote that ghostly ships had been haunting the skies of ancient Rome since 218 AD, but it wasn't until 1561 that one of the first documented group sightings occurred. A celestial phenomenon was seen in the sky over Nuremberg, Germany, at dawn on the 14th of April. Within sight of several witnesses, two blood-red circular arcs appeared and seemed to chase and even battle each other for over an hour. The same event occurred 5 years later in the skies over Basel, Switzerland. Several modern-day observers say that it was simply a phenomenon called parhelia, which is spelled Parhelia, which is a completely natural optical event featuring phantom suns. And I think I have to say at this point of the video, I'm not really a believer in the supernatural, so things like ghosts, UFOs, aliens, I'm not really in favor of believing that they exist. I'm quite a logical person. I think that everything has a logical explanation, no matter how strange it may seem. So really, unless I experience something very spooky firsthand, or an alien abducts me, I'm going to tend to waver on the side of caution. But I think these supposed sightings they're fun to read, and nobody can definitively say what they saw, which makes it so interesting. And as we'll see in this video, there have been a lot of unusual UFO encounters through history. UFO is not the only term used to refer to these objects. The term unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP for short, is used as a broader term by investigators. Another term is OVNI, popularly used by Spanish, Portuguese, French, and Italians. We may hear the expression less often these days, but good old flying saucers still attract plenty of attention. The The term was first used by the American media in 1947 to describe pilot Kenneth Arnold's encounter during a business trip to Yakima, Washington. Mr. Arnold reported seeing very bright points of light near his airplane. 9 objects were flying in a V formation at the alarming speed of nearly 3,000 kilometers or 1,860 miles per hour. He noted that the sight resembled saucers skipping on water, and the term flying saucers has been used ever since. Yeah, flying saucers is a term we're all familiar with, and so here we learn that it was coined in 1947, and it sounds like quite the experience this pilot had at the time. I think no matter how detailed a description is, it's still difficult to imagine what it would have looked like in reality, and it's something that the people or persons involved in can only truly know. People from different locations and professions have reported UFO sightings. 5 to 7% of people in the world have seen a UFO, and 10 to 15% of people know someone in their contact who have seen a UFO. And those are quite high figures, to be honest, much higher than I would have expected. Stephenville, a small city southwest of Dallas, Texas, is home to nearly 18,000 people. On January the 8th, 2008, dozens of residents claim to have seen lines and arcs of white light in the sky over Highway 67. The formation, estimated to be approximately 2 kilometers or 1.2 miles in length, appeared to travel at nearly 5,000 kilometers or 3,100 miles per hour. A few weeks later, the American Army attributed the sight to the presence of F-16 fighters, but several Stephenville residents refuse to accept this explanation, finding it difficult to believe that humans are capable of developing such powerful and silent technology. I think it's kind of funny how some residents of this town refuse to accept the explanation offered to them by the American Army, but that's their right, and only they know what they saw. So far, no UFO has been tracked on radar entering the Earth's atmosphere. As per the National Aviation Reporting Center on Anomalous Phenomena, some UFOs have unusual electromagnetic properties which disrupt microprocessors and adversely affect avionic systems. The alleged crash of an extraterrestrial aircraft in the desert near Roswell, New Mexico, is certainly the most famous UFO incident. It continues to spark public imagination more than any other event. Did an alien spaceship piloted by a humanoid being really crash in the desert on the 2nd of July 1947? Has the American government managed to hide the existence of this aircraft ever since. Such questions have only added fuel to the fire of conspiracy theorists, and over 70 years later, the mystery persists. Yeah, even if you have no real interest in UFOs or alien activity, you've probably heard of Roswell. It's something I'm keen to learn more about, having just read this particular fact, so I'm sure I'll be looking it up after this video on Wikipedia. And I think that could even be worth a video of its own, maybe even a Wikipedia style reading video. We'll have to see in the future, but for sure it is very fascinating. 12,618 UFO sightings were reported to Project Blue Book between the years 1947 and 1969. Project Blue Book was a UFO research agency that was headquartered at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Even till date, 701 of these sightings remain unidentified. According to several groups of UFO believers, the International Space Station, in orbit around our blue planet for over 20 years, has experienced no shortage of visitors from outer space. During a live retransmission from space in 2016, several unidentified flying objects were seen around the International Space Station. One transmission was even cut short during such an event. In one of the videos captured by the space station, a cylindrical object can be seen hovering above Earth's atmosphere. But what could it have been? So here we have an incident that took place in the recent past, in 2016. I wonder, is the footage of this incident available? I'm going to have to look into that as well. So many of these incidents are sparking curiosity in me, and maybe it's the same for you as well. But yeah, there's quite a few things involved within this list that I do intend to look into further, because my curiosity has certainly been sparked by them. In the late 1930s, Orson Welles' radio show, The War of the Worlds, was so realistic that hundreds of people thought America was really being invaded by aliens and UFOs. I've never actually seen the original War of the Worlds, but I have seen the Tom Cruise version, which I really enjoyed a lot. I thought it was a very good movie, one worth checking out if you've never seen it. During the 1960s, the inhabitants of Warminster, an English village located southwest of London, experienced their own extraterrestrial encounter. According to several accounts, numerous drivers reported that their cars suddenly stopped working in the middle of the road as brightly lit objects passed overhead. Some noted that the objects constantly changed colour, while others mentioned hearing loud sound vibrations. In all cases, the immobilized vehicles started up again once the UFOs disappeared. More than 50 years later, an old report from the Ministry of Defense resurfaced, indicating that the event could have resulted from disintegrating meteors passing through Earth's atmosphere. On the 15th of August 2013, the CIA finally acknowledged the existence of Area 51. This area and its surroundings are strictly off limits for public access. According to some videos and articles smuggled outside, living and dead aliens and spacecraft of futuristic designs were found on this land. But the US government still denies these claims. Wow. So it was only in 2013 that they finally acknowledged its existence. That is a huge surprise, I have to say. And again, Area 51, like Roswell, if you've never really been interested in anything to do with alien activity or UFOs, you've probably still heard of Area 51, and it has featured in a number of movies, or at least been mentioned, and one that comes to mind is Independence Day, of course, which I think in that movie they do visit Area 51. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, it's very famous and very well known. The first official mention of a UFO in North America dates back to 1639 near Boston. The governor of the Massachusetts colony, John Winthrop, wrote in his personal journal on the 1st of March that inexplicable lights filled the sky and that several people simply lost track of time. He even hints at a kidnapping. Winthrop recounts the misadventures of James Everell, a sober, discreet man who, along with two other individuals, was paddling a boat on the muddy river when they encountered a light. The group stared at the moving light for hours, unaware that their boat had mysteriously returned to its point of departure. Several witnesses corroborated the strange phenomenon. According to some UFO aficionados, the Men in Black really do exist and have been hammering on the doors of alien witnesses ever since the first appearance of flying saucers in 1947. Okay, so the Men in Black really do exist. That is so cool. I love that. And I wonder, do they have the memory eraser gadget? Yeah, another great alien-themed movie that is well worth checking out. But if you're watching this video and you've never seen Men in Black, I would be very surprised, to be honest. Perhaps you've seen the film Close Encounters of the Third Kind by Steven Spielberg. A memorable scene in the film shows a UFO completely short-circuiting a car's electronic components. This wasn't just Hollywood make-believe. It actually happened to residents of Levelland, Texas in 1957. Dozens of people complained that their vehicles suddenly stopped as strange lights, possibly a rocket, whirled through the air. The authorities thought it was a hoax, but the United States Air Force created a research group to investigate further. They question. That is quite a spooky fact, to be honest. The fact that no storm was reported. Yeah, it really gets you thinking about what it could have been. So yeah, I think this video is full of fascinating facts, and this is one of my favourite topics that I've ever covered before, which I know is a big claim, but I'm really enjoying these facts about UFOs and learning about different events that have occurred over history and different sightings and things, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Thomas Mantell, an experienced World War II fighter pilot and a member of the Kentucky Air National Guard, crashed and perished while pursuing a UFO in January 1948. When the incident occurred, a New York Times article on the pilot noted that there had previously been reports of a flying saucer in the Kentucky area, which is what led Mantell on his fruitless and ultimately fatal crash. To this day, the circumstances leading up to his crash are still disputed by the public and members of the military. Fellow members of the Kentucky National Guard, who were also searching for the UFO that day, have also never been able to properly identify what exactly it was that they were chasing. Some scholars suggest that it might have been a weather balloon, but the fact of the matter is that we'll never truly know. In 1980, members of the US Air Force stationed just outside of London reported seeing a series of strange lights coming from nearby Rendlesham Forest. According to the BBC, a few of the servicemen reported coming across what they at first assumed was a downed aircraft in the forest. Upon getting closer, they discovered that it was an otherworldly craft that emitted light beams reaching across the forest. In the days that followed, many other Air Force officers came forward to corroborate these claims, stating that the glow from this mysterious aircraft had put on an impressive light show for hours, without any clear sign that the lights could have come from any other source. Ever since, this area just outside of London has become known as the Roswell of England. Oh wow, that is a really cool incident, and to my surprise it's one that I've never heard of before. But the fact that so many people corroborated the story, and that it's such a famous incident that it's known as the Roswell of England, is just such a really cool fact, and this is another one that I just know I'm going to look into more after I finish up with the video. It just sounds like such a fascinating incident. In February 1942, during World War II, soldiers stationed around 120 miles from Los Angeles spotted an unidentified flying vessel zipping in and out of view, thinking that it might be an enemy aircraft. The United States military plunged the entire city of Los Angeles into darkness to be better able to spot the aircraft. As the blackout ensued, city. Due to the stress of the event, 5 people died from heart attacks and car crashes. After the city returned to its normal state, authorities claimed that what the soldiers saw was a meteorological balloon and not an enemy fighter or a UFO. Wow, that sounds terrifying. The fact that the city was blacked out during a war. No wonder people died of heart attacks and such. The stress would be unbelievably high for the people at that time. And finally, on the 19th of July, 1952, air traffic controllers at Washington National Airport detected the presence of an unexpected aircraft on their radar, moving at unbelievable speeds. During the following weekend, several witnesses, including members of the armed forces, confirmed having seen strange flashes of light crossing the sky. The United States Air Force was forced to call a major press conference to reassure the public, a first since the end of the Second World War. Meteorites, a temperature inversion, and the stars were named as possible causes. Well guys, that is almost it for today's episode of Whispered Facts. But I thought this was a really enjoyable episode. I thoroughly enjoyed these facts about UFOs, various sightings, and so on. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Be sure to hit the like button, drop a comment down below, and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so. And click the notification bell to get notified when all of my future content goes live on the channel. Your support really makes all the difference, and I really do appreciate every one of you guys who supports the channel as we continue to grow moving forward. And I hope that what we cover today in this video won't leave you having nightmares. I tend to find UFO and extraterrestrial stories to be more fascinating than anything else. But a huge thank you for joining me for this episode, and until next time, rest easy, sleep well, and I hope to see you again very soon for another video, and goodbye for now.